All right, my name is Captain Irving, and you're in F Troop. Now, oh, kitty. Jane is at the fort with a telegram for the captain. A wagon train was passing through this area, and one of the wagons got separated and went missing. He'll send O'Rourke with a detail to go look for them.
Wilton, you want to go on a picnic in the Darrow Valley near Kissing Rock?
Kissing Rock? I thought they called that Eagle Rock.
Eagles can do what they want, and we'll do what we want.
Jane, I've told you, not in front of the men.
Remember last time how I said their relationship was going to change a little? There you go. Just not in front of the men. Meanwhile, someone has found the missing wagon, but it wasn't O'Rourke.
Them crazy-looking Indians. They're not Indians. They're gypsies. What's a gypsy? An out-of-work Hungarian with a violin.
They prefer to be called Romani after their language. Gypsy is considered a racial slur. In 1966, nobody but the Romani cared. The woman leading them is familiar to a lot of us.
Hi there, gypsies. I'm Corporal Agarn.
And I'm Marika. And these are my sisters Sonia and Tanya.
No, I am Tonya.
And I am Sonia.
Whatever they say.
I talked a little about the Gabor sisters in the final episodes of Adamania. They were born in Hungary, but by the outbreak of World War II, they had all migrated to America. Their mother had a little harder time and had to escape from the Nazis in 1941. Why did they all leave? Because the whole clan was Jewish, and we know what the Nazis thought of that. Magda did some acting in Hungary, but nothing significant. Jaja, likewise, she did some roles, but never really hit it big. Ava was the actual actress of the trio. She appeared in tons of movies and TV shows and even had her own talk show in 1953. In 1965, she achieved practical immortality when she became Lisa Douglas, the long-suffering, pampered New York social climber whose husband dragged her off to Hooterville to take up farming on Green Acres. Yet somehow Jaja became the most famous of the trio. She may have been the first person in America who got famous for being famous. It's not that unusual now, but she sort of paved the way. She and her sister Magda were known as socialites, which, as best I can tell, is a specialized term for a high-maintenance parasite. To me, the most amazing accomplishment that the sisters accomplished as a group was racking up 19 husbands. Jaja went through 9 of them herself, while the other 2 discarded 5 apiece. I know the old football principle says you keep running that play till you get it right, but ladies, there comes a point where you just have to throw up your hands and say, this isn't working. Needless to say, they're all gone now. Jaja was the last to go. A heart attack cut her down in the prime of life at the tender young age of 99. They are indeed the lost wagon, and they're trying to find Fort Courage. What a coincidence. Agarn just happens to be from there. He introduces Wild Eagle and Crazy Cat.
Nice to meet you, Chief Darling. You want to have your palm read?
It already is.
That joke is so racist, and I can't help myself. Something in the way he delivered it makes me laugh any time I watch it or think about it. She gives him the typical phony palm reading for $1, which Agarn covers, and then it's time to head for the fort.
I've got a business proposition for you.
Yes,
I happen to be the branch manager for O'Rourke Enterprises, and I can set you up on the fort.
you can.
That's right. You can tell fortunes, give dancing lessons, mandolin lessons, even have a gypsy chuck wagon. Goulash to take out.
We gypsies, we don't know anything about business. What's the split?
The split is usually a banana, then you put the ice cream. Oh, she means the money. He says 50-50. They have a deal. Even better, O'Rourke said that while he's away, Agarn gets to keep all the money he collects. He doesn't have to keep back a cut for O'Rourke. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get this wagon train rolling.
Marika, it's not like you to split with anybody.
You don't even split with us.
Think a minute, sisters. Would you really want to be my partner?
Once the men are finished drooling, Agarn introduces the ladies to the captain and explains.
This is the lost wagon, Captain.
Oh, well, I'm happy to see you're all safe and sound.
With the captain's permission, I'd like to suggest that these ladies be given protection of the... That's... You're given the protection of the fort.
In other words, let them stay on post. The captain says we can't do that, it's against the rules. But it's not hard to win him over, especially once Marika starts sweet talking.
Excuse me, ladies.
I gotta go too. It's pay call.
Sisters, they're playing our song.
Yes, they're also stereotyped gypsies, out for the money, whatever it takes to get it. The way all the men are tripping over their tongues helps the cause a lot. Everybody always talked about how beautiful Jaja was, but she never did a thing for me. Growing up, I'd listen to the talk, but when I looked at her on the screen, it seemed to me she just owned a lot of makeup. Sometime later, the captain can't find any of the men. Where'd they all go?
Troopers! Ho! On the double! On the double!
Either that wagon is a lot bigger than it looks, or they're all training to be clowns. The captain says this just isn't working out. They're disrupting the whole fort. Dobbs played reveille on a mandolin, and they're all skipping regular chow to go eat goulash.
Do you realize that if the Inspector General had arrived yesterday, he would have seen one of my men guarding the fort wearing earrings?
That was Hoffenmuller, sir. It just happens he has pierced ears.
The captain says sorry, but they have to go.
Oh, Corporal. Sir, before you tell Marika they have to leave, would you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
Ask her how soon I can expect that promotion she saw in my palm.
It's good to know he's been leading by example.
I'm afraid I got some bad news for you.
What's the bad news?
Captain says you gotta leave.
Oh, but couldn't you talk him out of it?
No chance. And everything would have been all right if we just hadn't sold those earrings to the men.
But much to Marika's dismay, Agarn is ready to settle accounts first. He wrote everything down. How tragic. Such a promising, blossoming enterprise brought low by a simple pencil.
27 fortunes, 18 pairs earrings, 16 plates goulash to go, 10 dancing lessons, 5 mandolin picks. I figure you owe me $22.
You have a very good business head, soldier. Well, here is your money.
If they stare at that wad of cash in his hand any harder, it may burst into flames. It's time to shake hands and say goodbye.
That mark on your hand. Do you know what that means?
I've got 6 months to live, right? I knew it. I knew it. I've had these terrible pains.
That's a sign of the long-lost gypsy prince. Prince Igor.
Gypsy Prince?
Tanya, Sonia, look.
She says, on your knees before royalty. The sisters know how to play along, and before you know it, he's convinced. She says, now that King Laszlo is dead, you're the king of all gypsies. You have to come with us. Your people need you. He says, I can't until my enlistment is up. And as we know from a previous episode, he just re-enlisted, so that'll be a while. She says, maybe it's just as well.
What kind of a life would you have as a gypsy king? Traveling all around the world, singing and dancing and being gay, and being married to a beautiful gypsy girl.
Married to a beautiful gypsy girl?
On your birthday, you get your weight in gold.
Agarn decides it's time to start eating more. And one other thing.
You want to resign from the army, Agarn?
Yes, sir. See that mark on my hand?
Yeah, it looks like a wart.
No, sir. It's the mark of gypsy royalty.
Gypsy royalty?
I'm Prince Igor, king of the gypsies.
Prince Ego, did you say? The captain says it doesn't work that way. I'm going to have to consult with headquarters on this one.
All right, Prince, I tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a 2-week furlough until I can straighten this all out with headquarters. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
But as it turns out, a few other folks know about Marika and her gypsy troupe.
They didn't get lost. They ran away from the train after fleecing soldiers at 3 posts.
Well, this explains Igor.
Who's Igor?
Agarn.
Agarn is Igor?
No, Igor is Agarn.
The two of them start brainstorming, and Captain Parmenter comes up with a plan.
Hold it. We're going to camp here for tonight.
Yes, that's the prince pulling the wagon, complete with horse collar. Marika sold their horse because they don't need it now that they have Igor. He's also designated to chop the wood and make the fire, and everything else that requires actual work. After all, she says, King Laszlo did those things, and she wouldn't lie to him, would she? Not about King Laszlo.
Marika, don't you think you're overdoing it?
He might get mad and go back to the army.
Sisters, all I want is to tire him out, so he'll sleep like a baby. Then we steal his money and throw him out on his royal ears.
I thought gypsies had a reputation for knowing lots of ways to drug someone and rob them. Marika must have missed class that day. But they have a problem. They can hear horses approaching.
Captain Perlmutter, what are you doing here?
We've come to give you an escort, Your Highness, just until you get out of Indian territory. It's sort of a farewell gesture to a wonderful comrade in arms.
While they're talking, he's not so subtly patting Agarn down, trying to find his roll of cash. Marika has a fair idea what's going on here, but she's not in a position to do anything about it.
Prince Agarn, can I see you in the wagon for a moment?
Oh, excuse me, Captain. Wait a minute, Prince. Say, why don't you do one of those gypsy dances for your buddies?
Kind of a weird thing to think of, but Agarn is game to give it a try.
Never mind the dancing, Prince. Just come inside.
Excuse me, Captain.
I wouldn't take that if I were a prince.
You're right. I'm gonna do a dance for my buddies. Would you, Captain?
Last I heard, the prince gives the orders, he doesn't take them. We'll get some Larry Storch comedy, which is always enjoyable. Then he'll get the captain into the act.
Hey, oh, I'm sorry, Prince. My hand got caught in your sash.
This isn't a problem for Marika as long as they give him back the money.
You must be more careful with your money, Prince. Come on, put it in the wagon.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to lose a wad like that, Agarn. I mean, Prince.
This is nothing. Next month, they're giving me my weight in gold.
Let's reel him in.
Say, as long as you're so rich, Prince, you know what would be a nice gesture?
What?
Why don't you buy a piano for the Enlisted Men's Club? We could put a plaque on it that says, Prince Igor slept here.
Great idea.
He says, keep the money, I don't need it now. But I do need to get the girls' help winding up my sash.
That was quick thinking, Captain.
Thank you, Dobbs.
Should we get ready to leave now, sir?
No, Duffy. No, he'll need a ride back to the fort.
You are no gypsy, Prince.
Oh, yeah? What about that mark on my hand?
That's our board, darling.
A wart?
But eating more bananas should make it go away. Jane and Wilton are off to their picnic at Kissing Rock, or whatever eagles do there, while O'Rourke has gotten back from trying to find that missing wagon. We're going to get another of this show's wonderful, would you please shut up and let him tell you, moments.
Sarge, you'll never believe this.
Hold it, partner. I didn't find that lost wagon, but I got a new line of souvenirs that'll make us millionaires. Look at this. Genuine gypsy scarves, a tambourine, more stuff. We got
It's too bad slapping a guy who outranks you is against the rules.
earrings and bracelets, a crystal ball. Look at this.
Gypsies ho!
You're a little late, Sarge. We've had several episodes already featuring Agarn, but this isn't a Lost in Space situation. We have 4 lead characters, and they fall naturally into 2 pairs, O'Rourke and Agarn, and the Captain and Jane. We went most of this episode without 2 of them, but we didn't feel a big hole in the story because of it. When they did appear, they did significant things and had significant lines. Unlike Lost in Space, nobody's getting lost in the woodwork. That's the advantage of having a smaller cast. The way this show is structured, we can do episodes featuring a secondary character like Dobbs or Duffy or even Hoffenmuller if we want, and not shortchange the stars of the show. We've already seen how tight and focused the writing is, and that hasn't changed 2/3 of the way through the season. I can't describe how difficult it is sometimes to make fun of a show that's so well put together. It requires major focus and meditation. That's why I don't do it. I farm all that out to her and just write down whatever she comes up with. It's true. I wouldn't kid you. If you're enjoying this, be sure to click the thumbs up button to show you like it. If you're not subscribed yet, punch me in the face right here and get it done. And don't forget that you can become a patron and help keep this kitty fed. The link is below. Until next time. How tragic. Such a promising, blossoming, no, that was good grief. Talk about a case of I thought I made a mistake and I didn't.